Hi everyone, and thanks for joining us at PMM Fest. Before this session starts, I just wanted to say a big thank you to all our sponsors, our partners, you, our festival attendees, and all our speakers too, because without all of you guys, none of this could have gone ahead and be the success that it has been. If you've not already checked it out, do check out our AMA site. Lots of our speakers will be heading over there after their sessions to take your questions and give their answers. So yeah, head over to the AMA site. That's all from me today. Enjoy the session.
Good morning and welcome to the session on the 3 pillars of a scalable go-to-market success formula. My name is Saranya Babu and I'm the Senior Vice President of Marketing at Rike. I have 20 years of experience in the high-tech industry, specifically focusing on B2B enterprise SaaS. And my journey started as a software engineer and took many transitions through product management, product marketing, before I expanded into marketing leadership roles. A little bit about Rike. Rike is a leader in the enterprise work management space. Rike helps your organization work as one by bringing all of your teams and departments into a single digital workspace where they can collaborate in real time, whether they are remote employees or they work in the office or they work as a distributed team across global locations. We have 20,000 customers across 140 countries. We have 2.3 million users across organizations of all sizes and industries. Today, we're going to talk about the 3 critical elements of a successful launch formula. This really pertains to my experience within the B2B SaaS space, but some of the elements may apply outside as well. We'll first start with some of the challenges that product marketers face. I'll then show you how we put all of this in practice here at Rike, and also show you how you can get quickly started with Rike. So let's start with some of the challenges. Customer expectations are soaring. So marketers are expected to move really fast during these times of rapid change. We're expected to work in hours and days and not weeks and months. In the SaaS space, for example, new products and new features are launched every week. So that means marketers really cannot afford to move slower than that. Consumers expect up-to-date and fresh experiences from marketers. Consumers also expect hyper-personalized and relevant experiences. With the availability of more than 1 trillion audience data points across advertising platforms and marketing tools, it's made it really easy for brands to offer hyper-personalized experiences based on audience and all of the other audience data that's available to them. So that has set a new bar for consumers, and they expect it as a default. Consumers also have a lot of options in terms of where they can get the information, so you need to follow them wherever they go if you want to stay top of mind. Otherwise, your competitors will. So that means more personalized experiences across more channels. And across all of these different channels and audiences and different campaigns, you also need to make sure that you maintain brand consistency. So what you're really looking at here and what this means for marketers is the complexity is exploding, right? It's exponential with the number of channels that you need to cover, with the speed at which you need to go, with the number of personalized experiences that you need to offer based on all of these audience segments that are available. So this is really putting a lot of pressure on marketers. Now, if we look at specifically product marketers, there are internal and external challenges that they face. On the one hand, competition is exploding. SaaS space specifically has very low barriers of entry. So every 3 to 6 months, you can see a new company being started. I can talk about the example of the MarTech space. There is this infographic that Chief MarTech publishes every year with all of the vendors in the MarTech space. Back when they started in 2011, there were 150 tools. And then quickly in 3 years, they crossed the 1,000 mark. And in the next 3 years, it became 5,000 tools in 2017. And in 2019, we have more than 7,000 different vendors just within the MarTech space, right? So you can see how the space is exploding in terms of number of competitors. And then add to that the speed at which each of these companies is able to launch new features. So that really puts marketers on their toes. Now, this is not just a marketing space. Every space works the same. So really the market is in high flux. And what this means is if you're taking 3 months to develop a very comprehensive competitive strategy, the chances are by the time you're done, it's already stale. The second challenge is just the short or the decreasing or shrinking shelf life of innovation. So as consumers get exposed to all of these different brands, they quickly start to tune out marketing materials. So what that means is marketers have to try different ways to cut through the noise. And so they come up with innovative ways to get the attention of the consumer. Infographics were a thing at one point, and then videos became a thing. And then quickly, people started tuning those out, and then silent videos with closed captioning became a thing, and then back to like direct mail. So marketers are constantly trying to find new ways to get the attention of consumers who are being bombarded with all of these messages from all of these different brands. And so that's also kind of creating more challenge for product marketers. So all of this is really putting a lot of pressure because you really need to accelerate as well, because if you want your companies to grow, you need to be moving faster than competitors. So add to that, so this is all market challenges. Add to that the challenges that product marketers face internally as functions that need to work with cross-functional departments. There is an explosion of tools and technologies, right? Everybody uses their own tools. And so that creates data silos, communication silos, and operational silos. So it just creates a lot of complexity there. And on top of that, we're dealing with global distributed and remote teams, which intensified in the last 2 months because of large-scale remote working and lockdowns. And finally, just product marketers, the nature of their function is that it's very diverse. Product marketing is defined differently in different companies, and it's generally seen as a bridge between multiple functions like product, sales, customer success, professional services, delivery teams, and also within just across all of the different marketing teams. So just because of the nature of being this linchpin in the organization, they have a very diverse set of things they need to do, and makes it really difficult to focus. I'm not going to get into all of these different things here, but you can see how quickly you can lose focus, and how what a challenge this poses for product marketers. With that, we're going to jump quickly into the 3 critical elements for a successful go-to-market formula. So the first element is agile. An agile go-to-market process is extremely important to stay competitive in today's fast-changing market. In the next few slides, I'm going to talk about what agile means and what it means specifically for marketing teams and for product launches. The second component is a launch manager, right, that owns the end-to-end execution of a product launch. And I'm calling this person a launch manager specifically for product launches, but their role is something like a program management office, right, part of a program management office. The third component is having a single digital workspace where all of the different people involved in a launch can come and collaborate and work together. Having a collaborative work management platform like Grike. So if you look at these 3 elements, they cleanly map to people, process, technology, which is really the foundation for anything. Agile being the process component, the PMO being the people component, and the CWM being the technology component. So let's talk about Agile. Here's a nice quote from Jack Welch that sums it up very cleanly. So if the rate of change on the outside exceeds the rate of change on the inside, the end is near. So what this really means is if you don't move at the speed of change, then you can't survive, right? So let me tie this to something that is that we can all relate to. So if you look at the Standard & Poor's 500, just S&P 500 listed companies, the lifetime of companies in the S&P 500 has been shrinking really fast. So in 1965, it was 33 years on an average, right? In 1990, that quickly shrank to 20 years. By 2026, it's expected to shrink to 14 years. So what that means is half of the companies in the S&P 500 would be replaced in the next decade. So we're not talking about small startups, right? We're talking about big companies and how they need to stay relevant in this age of really fast moving markets. The companies that have been successful and will be successful are the ones that are able to adapt to this pace of change. An example is Amazon, which has 10x'd the number of updates they make and they release in a day, right? Compared to 5 years ago, they've actually their rate of updates has increased tenfold, which translates to almost 2,000 updates a day. So, which is staggering. So you can imagine how, regardless of company size, it's really important for companies to stay agile and stay ahead of the speed of change. And that's what agile is all about. So on this slide here, I have a modified version of the Agile Manifesto. So Agile started as a methodology for software development. And what I've done is I've taken that and I've tweaked this for marketing. Most of the basic principles still apply. And what we follow is a combination of what I call water, agile, fall, which is a combination of waterfall and agile. So it really starts with a vision, right? And this vision is brought to life by a certain set of key individuals who collaborate really, really closely and interact very closely over a period of time to launch what I call a minimum viable campaign, right? And once this minimum viable campaign is launched, we then go into a process of experimentation, right? So you iterate quickly to optimize to arrive at something that can be taken and scaled in a predictable manner. So this process really helps you to respond to change very quickly. So those are some of the kind of the basic principles of Agile. What this really means is you, instead of planning, coming with a perfect plan and then executing it, which doesn't make sense when things change so quickly because your plan becomes outdated as you build a plan. So we don't do the plan, right? So you start with the vision and then you iteratively build everything. And the plan and the process also become deliverables as part of this process. So one example I can give you is how we came up with a go-to-market process. So instead of coming up with the whole launch list and implementing that in Rike and setting up all of the dependencies and the efforts and building the perfect template, what we did was we took an agile approach to build the template. So we came up with an initial list of things that we thought were important in a launch. We did one launch with it. So we put that through a real launch. And as we did the launch, we uncovered some gaps and we tweaked that list of things. And then what we did was we did one more small launch, we tweaked it further. And at that point, we created that template within Rike, right? We created one template. And then we put that through a couple more launches. And what we did was through those processes, we got more data, real life data, right? Because these are real launches. And then what we just did was we iteratively built the dependencies in a Gantt chart. We built the effort estimates. We built all of the different people that needs to assign the workflows and everything. Then we put that through a couple more launches, and we got to a point where we were not making as many changes as we used to make, right? So it came to a point, it became more and more stable, and it was like 95% there. That's when we implemented the whole thing in Rike. We automated the workflows and everything. And at that point, we got a go-to-market process that was already vetted through a bunch of real-life launches, so there would be no surprises. So we took an agile approach to build that template. So moving on to Agile with Rike, here are some tools. We have all of the tools out of the box for implementing Agile or Waterfall or any other methodology that works for you. It could be a combination of Agile and Waterfall. We don't enforce any methodology. Specifically for Agile, we have Kanban boards, Gantt charts, calendars, custom fields, automated workflows, dashboards, BI dashboards to stay on top of everything, collaboration features, so that that's really a key piece of Agile, and everything is available out of the box. So now I'm going to talk about the Agile product launch process that we follow here at Rike. So what we follow is, again, a combination of waterfall and agile. So what I call water agile fall. It all starts with a planning meeting. And in the planning meeting, we typically have 4 people. These are 4 different roles. And in some companies, it could be the same person doing multiple of these roles. It could be 2 people. But it's important to have these 4 different roles. And the first role is someone who has access to, or who has the authority to do global prioritization across multiple departments. So for example, someone who can work with the sales team and make sure that the sales enablement calendar is set up for this. Someone who can work with the customer success team and make sure that the customer success training, the professional services training is all slotted into their priorities and calendars, right? So typically this is someone who's from a PMO office that works cross department. This is really important because a launch involves multiple departments and everybody has to prioritize this at the same level. So we need global prioritization. The second role is someone who can do the same thing for the marketing team, right? So across all of the different marketing teams, someone who has the authority to prioritize globally. This could be a project manager who manages integrated marketing campaigns, or it could be the CMO. So marketing teams have multiple shared kind of services, right? Like design, content, and ops. So it's extremely important to have global prioritization so that you don't have situations of deadlock where a project has a higher priority with design and has a low priority with content or something like that. So we need one person that can really take these in and deprioritize what needs to be deprioritized and set global priorities. Global priorities is also an important piece of Agile. The third role is someone who can do that same thing for just across product launches, and that's the head of PMM, product marketing usually. And then the fourth person is the launch manager, who's going to take all of this and really execute this. So the planning meeting is where we all come together and we decide what are going to be the components of this launch. So for example, are we going to do a press release, right? Do we need to do a dedicated blog or a blog series or just one roundup blog for multiple launches? Are we going to send a dedicated email? What about prospects? So we come up with what makes up this launch. And at the end of this meeting, the launch manager then takes all of this and adds to the backlog of the different teams, right? Now for bigger launches, we have a brainstorming meeting before this to talk about what needs to be done for this launch. So once this is done, we have a kickoff meeting that's all organized with the launch manager at this point. And the kickoff meetings where like the campaign brief is done and everybody's briefed on their roles, talk about why this is important. What is the context of this launch? Is it a differentiation launch? Is this a market parity launch? So whatever that is, we talk about the launch, the context, brief everybody. Everybody's on the same page, then we go. Following this, we have stand-up meetings, right? So it could be daily stand-up meetings or bi-weekly, depending on the specific project, the need, and the pace at which it's going. Typically, the last 2 weeks were on a daily schedule. And this involves everybody that's involved. Sometimes there is a cross-functional stand-up, and then there's a marketing stand-up, so different stand-ups. That's fine. So that's when we would look at the status of the different things, status check, what are your roadblocks, any other challenges, are you on schedule? Good. Then the PMO, the launch manager, has their sync meetings with the head of product marketing, in this case for these launches. If it's a demand gen campaign, it would be the head of demand gen. So in this case, the owner of the launch, right? So they have those syncs, typically half an hour, maybe 2 times a week. And that's when the decisions are made on what goes into the backlog, if something needs to change. For example, if we find that midway, there was a competitor announced something, we need to change course. That's when we make those decisions. And then the plan is changed. And then in the sync meeting, everybody's briefed, and then we go follow the plan. So that's kind of the process there. And we kind of try to do a minimum viable campaign, right? So what that means is, for example, for a launch, if we have to update like 10 pages ideally, right? We look at the 3 pages or whatever that absolutely need to be updated. That's in the first kind of MVC. And then we put the rest as kind of ongoing sprints. So what we do is we come up with the minimum viable kind of campaign or launch, right? What needs to be out there minimum for this to go out We do that, and then the rest of it is done in a phase 2, which is then pulled back into or absorbed into an ongoing marketing sprint where we look at all items from the backlog, and we do sprints for the marketing teams. So that's our process, and this has really helped us, especially with the last 2 months, with the changes happening in the market as quickly as they are. It's really helped us stay up to date, change course when we needed to, and quickly enough, and not going the wrong direction for a longer time, right? So avoiding those mistakes and staying close to the market and being able to respond quickly. So now I'll show you how all of this plays out in Rike. So here is our what we call a space. We have a global GTM go-to-market space where all of the go-to-market teams have access to this, and all of the resources are cleanly organized in our bookmark section. So you can see our release notifications, release calendar, the go-to-market plans, all of the campaign briefs are here, and then the roadmaps are here, which is really important so people can know what's coming down the line. So we have all of the resources here. And then this is our go-to-market template that I talked about. It's all implemented in Rike. All we need to do is take it and create a new instance of it with a new date, and it automatically assigns it to the right people with the right effort estimates, and it'll adjust all of that. All of the processes are all automated. This is the internal release notifications. So in Rike, we have all the departments on Rike, and so it's really easy for us to collaborate on Rike. So internal release notifications are made available to all the teams, so everybody's on the same page. So here are some examples. Here's one, and then here's another. And then finally, we have calendars, right? Calendars for the release and enablement and all of the different milestones. So we have different milestones, and every milestone is a project. And then you can look at, you can see the calendar to know and stay on the same page on what is coming when. So we have some quick templates that can get you started right away. So on the left-hand side, you can see 3 templates. We have a lot of templates, but specifically the product launch template, go-to-market template, and the product roadmap template are good places to start. And on the right-hand side, we have a blog specifically for the product launch template that can help you get started with that. Our blog is also a good resource in general for tips and best practices. So with that, we come to the end of this session. You can follow us on social media. It was an honor to be here with you today. Thank you.